So, in a way, Daniel has shared the fantastic story in, as Jackie says, in quantitative data, which is really important. But what we're going to hear is the human story, which is actually, sorry, Daniel, but it is the most important thing, is the human story. Daniel's saying I'll never do a PowerPoint again. And just to put three bits of quick context before we get into this. So we're going to talk for about 35 minutes, and then we all get caffeine. But I do want to add my own. I've been in the university since 2001, and very aware of the work that the Access Programme has done and is doing and will continue to do. And Imelda and Daniel are now the legends, and the other people here are now the legends that were Seamus O'Grady and Seamus McMahon. So I want to acknowledge that, because I think time moves, sadly, too quickly, and sometimes we forget about the human footprint in this fantastic university. So it's important to remember the human footprint. So it's my honor to meet you all. This is like a magician. We've never met before. You know that. I'm now going to. What I thought would be useful is, because I know, Aisling, you're not in the video, but the other story's in the video. So I'm actually going to start with you, Aisling. So maybe if you could share a little bit about your own biography.
Absolutely. So, geez, this is loud. I'm honoured to be here, I guess, as a past student of the Access programme, but also as now a colleague to a lot of the incredible and amazing and impactful people that really helped transform my life. So I know Imelda Byrne is sitting over there in the corner, and she was a huge factor in my transformation. Dr. Daniel Savory was my sociology tutor at the time, so it really is such an honour to see things go full circle, and now to be here and hopefully, with my experience and my knowledge, to be able to support my colleagues and other students like myself coming through. But it wasn't always that way, I guess. So in 2010, I completed the Access course, but I started off, I came from a socially disadvantaged area, financially disadvantaged single parent household, and then in secondary school I developed, although I probably had it growing up as a child, but it really came to the forefront in secondary school. I had severe anxiety. And when I say severe, I mean walking to the shop was an effort. Speaking to, even a family member was an effort, never mind being able to sit here now in front of you all and speak. So it was really debilitating. And I remember being in school, and I still always had this desire deep within me somewhere to go to college. I don't know really where it came from, because before that, as a child, there hadn't been anyone in my family who had went to university, but it was always there, and I wanted to do more, and I wanted to learn, and I always knew I wanted to help people. But as I came through school, I kind of realised there was this narrative, and it was there, even though, some people might have tried to hide it, but that university was for a particular type of person. And I remember going to my career guidance counsellor in 5th or 6th year and saying, I'd really like to go to university. And the answer I got was, you should really look into a trade, because you're not going to get there. It's not for you. And I guess I'm just so grateful to the Access Centre, because they've always challenged that narrative, and not only challenged it, but have worked tirelessly to change it, And I guess university, we all are highly aware that there's a myriad of ways of being, and it's not about saying that this is the way, but I think Access truly has shown us and has created opportunities to say that if it is the path that you want to take, well, then it should be available to you regardless of your financial circumstances or your social circumstances or personal. So I'm just so grateful to everyone, I guess, in the Access Centre and the wider university that has acted to support that. I guess another really important thing for me coming through the Access Centre, and I know I've heard Imelda utilise this word, is scaffolding. And I think Access really, it's not just entry to university. I mean, entry on its own, just because you gain a place in university, doesn't mean that your past traumas go away or your financial situation just automatically disappears. But Access really creates, this community where we now have the financial aid fund that we can avail of. We have disability support service, which I availed of both. we've the laptop loan scheme, and I think that really ensures that our students have the best opportunities to succeed. So I guess, yes, now I'm here, and I'm very grateful.
And was there a kind of, the kind of road to Damascus kernel moment? Was there a moment you said, look, I'm going to go to college? Or was it slower? Or?
It was slower, yeah. I think it was slower, like it was always there, it was always burning. There was never this moment. I think I always thought that, even though that desire was there, I don't think I ever thought it would really happen. And I remember submitting my application and still not, really believing that I would have gotten in. And I should add as well, especially when we're speaking of data and things, is that sometimes we really need our data, because I guess that shows us where we need to go, where we have came from. But it really, sometimes I get scared that our data, we forget about the person behind it. And I guess it's not just me. This has really changed my whole family's life. So I didn't mention my mum came through the Access. My cousin was coordinator of the school leavers course, I believe. Olga and her brother and sister have also completed the Access programs as well, and are now working in law and engineering. So it's hugely, hugely transformative.
And was that family link important for you?
No, because I think my anxiety was so difficult that just because Olga had actually done the Access program before me, and so would Neil and Tracy, but because my anxiety was literally so bad and my self-belief was so bad, just because they had done it, it still, for me, it was great to see that there was that route, but it didn't help me feel that I deserved it, or that I would have gained it any easier, if that makes sense.
No, it does, absolutely, yeah. Great, thanks, Aisling. We'll come back a little bit later on a different angle. I'm going to move down the line. Rinalds, maybe if you could, you look great in the video. You sound
Thank
great.
you very much.
You should think of taking movie. No. Could you expand a little bit more just about your story, if that's okay? Just if you're comfortable with that, just about what because it seems that was it a very rapid movement for you to get into college, or how was it?
It was very rapid movement because it happened in literally 2 weeks, turned around.
That's pretty quick.
Because the true story is I was homeless, and then I get to Simon community, and Simon community, there's social integration team, and they asked me a question like, what do you want to do in your life? Like, we go through my CV and everything. I didn't get a job at the time, and so I said, I was always wanted to do psychology. I was interested in psychology. So, whoever was the lady, Siobhan Kavanagh, she turned things around for me in a matter of short time. Let's put it that way. So let's say I had an interview on actually on Monday. On Wednesday we had a big introduction in a big hall there,
Yeah. And you survived that.
Well, sorry?
No, you survived that, okay, I'm joking. But
yeah, I survived, yeah. I want to tell another story called Transformational, this Access Foundation course is as well, because this building, I don't know how old it is. It's around, how old this building is.
This building here, or this one is very new, I think, isn't it? Yeah, but the university is going since 1845, when she started in college.
I was working here for a company called Alpro. I was doing industrial cleaning, so I did this hall, all the halls, every level, including the top roof of it, So that was those days, and I was sleeping outside in the grass in my breaks.
Gosh. Wow.
So yeah, that's transformational. And when I was homeless, to tell you the honest truth, I was sleeping in university grounds.
Wow.
So
it's amazing. Oh, God.
And through my life, I always walk through these lovely university grounds. So I'm very familiar with I kind of like this area.
Yeah.
It's always connects. I'm always back here,
It's your home, yeah. But that's about as transformational as it can get. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, God. Wow. And how are studies going for you at the moment? How is it going?
They're good.
Yeah. Except for some of the lecturers, of course.
Sorry?
Except for some of the lecturers. I know them in psychology. I'm joking. I'm in Sock and Paul, I can't say anything. No, that's great. Okay, yeah, wow. Okay, I'm going to come back again on a kind of related question in a while. Aryienna, so you look great in the video as well, and so did you, of course.
Thanks.
Can you expand a bit more on your story a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, so I come from a bit of a broken home. My father wasn't around, and it was my mother, and she had a terminal illness, and she's very unwell, so I was a bit of a child caregiver in a sense for most of my life. And we live with my grandparents, and my auntie was there, and she's special needs, so there's a lot of illness growing up, you know, and because of that I kind of struggled with education, you know, because I was always worried something was happening to my mother, so you know, I had to repeat a year here and there, you know, and then struggling with mental health and all that, and unfortunately I left school then, you know, in 5th year due to, you know, really bad mental health. You know, and then I kind of fell into addiction, unfortunately, for a few years. You know, and I was, you know, suicidal, you know, things were really difficult for me, and, you know, dealing with my poor mother and her illness and everything, like, you know, but in 2019 I came into recovery and got sobriety and started changing my life around a little bit, which was good. You know, and I was doing retail and all that kind of stuff, working, and, you know, I always kind of wanted to do education in the back of my mind, but I just didn't feel good enough, and I didn't really see it as an option because for so long I didn't even really think I'd be alive, to be honest, never mind anything else, like, you know. And then in 2022, unfortunately, I was in a house fire at home with my mother, and I had to try and save her. And yeah, you know, unfortunately, she died a few days later from that house fire. I stayed on my recovery journey though, stayed clean, and yeah, just losing Mum was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me, like, you know. But then from that, like, you know, I had a few different people, you know, coming at me saying, just go back to education. You know, and there was that part of me, it's like, oh, you know, maybe you're not good enough, or, you know, all that kind of thing. But I was like, you know what, just do it. And I took the leap, and yeah, got into Access, which is great. I'm so grateful I did. You know, and I, like that, I had no confidence. So starting to realise, you know, that I actually am capable of education, that I'm actually smart, I actually can make friends, you know, all the things that I never thought possible, like, yeah. You know, and then, you know, during the summer semester, before the exams, one of my grandfathers passed away.
Right.
And then also I had to go to the inquest about my mother before the exams as well. Yeah. But I somehow managed to, you know, pass with flying colours, like, you know, and yeah, now I'm doing children's studies and I'm happy out. Great. So.
Glad to hear you're doing children's studies. It's
yeah.
My neck of the woods. But was it, I mean, that's just, again, amazing. Was there, you know, because you obviously have been through so much, was there a kind of a sudden moment where you said, I'm going to go to college, that's it? Or was it, you thought long and hard about it, or?
To be honest, this is going to sound really silly. I had a friend involved with college, so she was pushing me the whole time, but I was still a bit unsure. And I used to work in Skechers in town. Oh, yeah. And I had a really good friend in there, and she handed me the work phone one day. And I was like, what? And she's like, it's the college, it's Access. Go out, go ring them, like, do you know? So I was like, okay, fine. Do you know? So yeah, it was just, you know, it was kind of lingering, but it was just a jump straight in, and then yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, and it's one thing that's, and I'm going to ask you in a second, Mamadou, but one thing, it's about relationships. I mean, that's what really comes across, is about human relationships. And I think that's the kind of magic thing about Access. It's about relationships. Mamadou.
Yeah.
So, you look great in the video as well. I'm not in it. Can you tell us a bit more about your journey, a little bit?
My journey was bit more kind of different. I came from a family which have more interest in politics. For me, I have no interest in politics because I've seen what politics done to my family. My grandfather was actively involved in politics. He was the head of the main opposition in my country in Guinea. He was fighting the regime at that time, and he was supposed to be the president of the country. And then when he passed away due to politics issues, and then my father also take on that role. And like I said, my family was actively involved. So due to that, and so many issues came up, and fighting over powers. And then my family has to get involved into a serious issue with the government. And from that point, and we become target.
Okay.
And then my father was kind of, up to this point, we don't know what the issue, but it got, I don't know, an accident, and which I supposedly, like, the accident was caused by some issue which we can't tell at this moment.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So him and my sister, we are involved in that accident, and I was here doing my studies during that time, and I was supposed to take my exams
Okay.
when I heard about this story. So going back, I flew from my country to Ireland, and then I didn't know much, so I was living in the street for 2 to 3 weeks in O'Connell Street. I was helped by some homeless people, and I was sharing this tent with them because I don't know, I was actively moving up and down, and then one of them saw me all the time, the same spot, and then he called me, tried to share that tent with me, and then as the day goes, he started asking me questions, and I said, I don't know where I am. I thought, by the way, I was in England. I didn't know I was in Ireland because I honestly, I don't know about Ireland.
Alcock and Brown thought they were in France when they landed in Clifton, so.
I only knew about Ireland, and when I went to seek asylum.
Yeah.
And then they asked me where I come from, and I explained, and then they took me to the direct provisions. And that's where my journey begins for Ireland. Have any one of you shared a room with 4 people and having this sweet dream, wake up, and then by having seen 2 people fighting every time in the morning? So that's the kind of place I live, sharing 4 beds, 3 beds with people. Sometimes some people have these mental issues. You can't tell. A simple reason can make you and those people fight. Sometimes by even moving just a bottle of water, you can start having fight. Or maybe someone will just come in and then switch on lights whilst you're sleeping and then start. So it was not easy for me, and I knew this was not the life I wanted. And I didn't know anything about education system in this place. So I wanted to do something and support my family. So I started doing some work, and one of the first job I had was to distribute newspapers. I would start 4 in the morning, and you have to be fast. If you don't fast, they don't want you. So I remember sometimes I would have pain in my feet, and then the guy would say, not today, not today, not today. You have to stay home. I need people who are fast. So I decided to find another job, so I decided to look for the restaurant and other stuff. So I happened to get a job from the kitchen porter.
Okay.
So working there, and then I met a friend. His name is Changu, and then he's older than me. I think he's around 48 to going to 50s. And he saw me, and then I was working so hard, and he asked me, what do you want in life? And I asked him, excuse me? He said, what do you want in life? I said, of course I'm working. He asked me what I want. He said, no, not this. You see, you are young, right? I said, you can tell. I said, yes. He said, you need to do something for yourself. This is not going to help you. I've been in this country for almost 20 years now. And you guys have the opportunity. For us, there was no much opportunity. I have heard about a program called the Access. So if you have the chance, look up. It's important. So I didn't have the chance to look that time. So, and then it told me again on second day to look up. So that's my journey.
Okay,
for now.
wow. So again, relationships, somebody, yeah. I'm going to come back to you, Aisling, and work our way down again. And I mean, one thing I'd say, like, I'm UNESCO chair here in the university, and UNESCO's policy globally is education for all. And that's the kernel message around the Access program, is education is for everybody. And the reason I'm saying that is if you were to give, I know Kieran, our university president, is gone. If you were to give the university president a message around the Access program, what would your message be? What's the most important message you could say about the Access program?
Just to keep supporting it, I suppose. I know when Dr. Daniel Savory was explaining the report to everyone, and he showed the figures for 23, right, because it had looked like the year before it had fallen. And I guess that in those times is to stay strong, because you know, every individual is important, and if we have a year where our numbers drop, you know, don't just focus on that, you know, because it's much more than a number. And whether one life is changed in a year or 100, you know, each and every one of them is just as important as the other. You know, it's a whole lifetime. It's a person's goals and dreams and their past and their future, and it's hugely important.
Yeah, that's a good message. And Rinalds, what message would you give to the university?
I'm impressed with Access Foundation course, and message would be that the previous Access Foundation course leavers are working here, which is very good for this Access Foundation course, because they know everybody, they're passionate about what they do, they really welcome you, they never turn you down, they have a heart in the right place, and they always help. Help is genuine.
Yeah.
And that's my message.
Yeah, okay, that's a really basic but really core message, isn't it, really? Aryienna, what would your message be?
Just to highlight the importance of access for people that might be, I don't know, somewhat of a marginalised group, like, you know, because, you know, for me, like, I never thought I'd be here at all. Do you know what I mean? I never imagined being here. And, you know, I feel like the Access Centre gave such a good foundation for, you know, how to be a student, you know, what's expected, and just to kind of build up your own confidence and all that kind of thing. And, you know, I've said it before, like, you know, that I feel like when you're in Access, you're with your little family, your little tribe, but then when you're in your degree, you're in the real world. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good way of putting it, yeah. Yes.
You know, so I think, like, you know, for someone, you know, for me anyway, I just felt like, you know, without going into Access first, like, I would have found, like, college quite difficult. So I just think people just need to be more aware of Access and what it is, and, you know, I don't know, I just think it's great.
No, but that's a really, so, you know, awareness, valuing, yeah, those things. Yeah. Mamadou, what message would you give to the university or to the president?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're here as a guest or a potential student. All I say is that to send that information out to people, because I was not fortunate to be here when the Access was trying to conduct this kind of meetings. So I was fortunate to get the information from someone else. Yeah. So I urge people to give this information out. You might be part of someone else's success stories. Yeah. Because for me, the Access is it's a transformations place. Yeah. It helps you transform your life and then send you out because my first year was will have been it's tough, but it will have been more tougher because imagine without the access, I won't understand what to do, because I've seen my colleague students break down because they didn't know what to do, because their expectations was taken away from them.
Yeah.
And for me, I was fortunate to get that from the access. There are a lot of support in the access,
Yeah.
which is, we can't get that from the first year,
Yeah.
because they are trying to they will try to give you everything, and then there is no feedback from that angle to show you how to utilize those opportunities.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
my message is this, first, I urge people to get these informations to people,
Okay.
and that will expand the access for better, and then even for students who want to get to first year might change their mind to come through the access first to gain this important, and then this will help in
Yeah.
the future. So that's my
That's good advice. Yeah. So it's really about him. I was waiting for one of you to say to give Daniel and Imelda a pay increase, but or a pay cut. But joking apart, so I mean that, like, I'm just exploring with you really. So a different question, and I'm not doing this as a negative question, but it's and I'm not going to go along like I'm in a row on this. Whoever wants to answer this, nobody has to answer it, or everybody can answer it. What has been the most difficult thing for you, if any? What was the biggest barrier you've had to overcome since you came on the Access program?
I think for me is just, I don't know, just kind of dealing with the life stuff, you know, stuff happening, illness, you know, family stuff happening, and trying to have a balance between still focusing on my education but also having other stuff going on in the background. And then I suppose for me now, a struggle that I can kind of have being in my, you know, in my first year of the degree is that because they're all, you know, from leaving cert straight into their degree, I feel a bit like, I don't know, not even necessarily less than, but a bit of a black sheep.
Sure.
You know, that's one thing that I can kind of, you know.
No.
But like at the same time, like I think, you know.
And sorry, Aryienna, you're kind of saying, just to go a bit deeper on that, so it's that you can have multiple things going on at the same time in your life, for example, family things or whatever, and then trying to deal with the college stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? What would the barrier? Anybody else want to?
Well, yeah, for me the most difficult was the first week.
Yeah.
First, just to get into the Access Foundation course, just to get orientation even, just to get a door, or to orientate yourself around, and that's where I get help from Access.
Yeah.
It was because I was thrown out of, I didn't expect it anyway. So
Yeah.
and I'm already kind of not young person anymore, like, you know,
Yeah.
as well, like, you know, and that's for me is first few days just to adapt
Yeah.
was challenging.
Yeah. And to get over that bump. Yeah.
Yeah, and it continues to be challenging, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. And what is there anything that could help you with that more that isn't there? Is it?
It's just what you call routine,
Yeah.
coming into university,
Yeah.
listening to lectures and doing your exams.
Yeah.
Just
Don't.
to get through it.
Yeah.
And the more you progress, the better it gets, I suppose.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Familiarity and all that, yeah. Aisling or Mamadou, any barriers that you would think about? Or?
I guess mine was probably when I started college. I guess realising that with anxiety at the time, thankfully, I have worked so hard on it and I'm not experiencing it at the moment at all. But when I did come into university, and this is 14 years ago, I wasn't really aware that with anxiety I could sign up to disability support services, which you can. So I signed up later, and there was lots of different things that helped me then afterwards, but I think I definitely struggled a lot more than I should have or would have had to if I had have signed up earlier. So I guess just potentially maybe having more of a conversation around that. I mean, I think that we're doing fantastic things, but just to keep talking and sharing our experiences so that, you know, students know from a wide variety of different backgrounds the supports that are available. We do a great job of that, but I mean, even myself, I slipped through the cracks there for maybe a year or a year and a half due to my own, I suppose, lack of maybe trying to acquire that knowledge too. But yeah, it definitely helped me so much more. I know one of the amazing things, I can see Betty over there and Sylvia from Assistive Technology in Denise, but I remember one of the things that I think Sylvia gave me was a recorder pen. And sometimes when my anxiety was that difficult, like I could be in a lecture and attend and not have a day missed, but because my anxiety was so bad, I still might not have been able to take in what the lecturer was actually telling me. So it was almost as if sometimes I wasn't there at all. And thanks to those in assistive technology, something like that piece of equipment really, really helped me. And I definitely got on a lot better then in my later years.
Yeah, good. That was a good way of getting over the barrier. Mamadou, what barrier for you was there? What was the most difficult thing? Or was there anything difficult? What was
In first or access program.
yeah.
My first barrier was English.
Yeah.
I find it difficult to even construct your proper English or maybe try to write proper. Everything was in French, so, but the access sort that out for me. They create not only, they try to, you know, bring a different module for people who have these challenges, not only for me. This is a thing that I said about the access, you know, so they even create things which are not even in their curriculum, and that's so wonderful. You know, so they look at you, they see your problem, your issues, they create something for you, just to make you feel like you have the chance or opportunity to excel in whatever you're doing. So imagine starting the access with zero English proper. I can't even speak. I understand what you can say, but it's hard for me. So, and then I grew up from that, try to make sure I use that properly, and then move to the first year program. So when I was in access, I created a lot of family, friends. So first year is a challenge for me to try to create that, because most people are from the other side, not from the access. So I try to make sure I navigate through that, but it's quite hard. I learned so much from the access, so I'm using that. So the challenge is already there, so I'm still trying to navigate through them and make sure I use them at my own best advantage.
Sure. Yeah. No, and all those. I mean, I just my own view is often that with all students, every student, that we sometimes need to listen to students more about what we can do better. We're paid to do a job on our end of the market. But small things matter. As the Chinese proverb says, you can sit on top of a mountain, but you can't sit on a needle. So small things do matter, and small things like issues around the English language or finding your way around, you know, the first week, you know, these things, or as you're, you know, Aryienna, you're talking about the things trying to deal with multiple things. These things are sometimes seem as small, but they're not, and they're important that we overcome the barriers. I mean, I'm saying that you know, our time is out. It's time for coffee. But joking apart, I mean, I think you know, my view is that what is the point of a university? What is the purpose of a university? And it's not a financial organisation. I've been blunt here. I see university as part of civic society, and it's about what we're about. And it's about as much, you know, you want to be remembered, or I want to be remembered. I'd far more like to be remembered, not as an idiot, probably will be, but I'd like to be remembered as a nice person, as a decent person, not for the type of person you are. And the university should be, and I think this is why access is so important, because it gives value to humanity. And I'm not, that sounds very pontificate of me, but I don't mean it like that. But it does. That's why I'm such a fan of what Access does. I have to say, I'm humbled. You were very kind to share your story, so I think they deserve it. And so, you know the way you say you will be the leaders of the world, you are the leaders of the world. I think I have earned a cup of coffee, so yeah, I think we all have. So thanks very much everyone, thank you.